Okay. All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the third episode of the Underground Nexus. I don't know if I'm going to keep shouting about like the numbers since it's really guest oriented and who cares about the number. But today we have a video essayist. I don't know, video essays with like a very strong meme comedy overtone. He'll talk about cults, aliens, Chernobyl, whatever the fuck. A diverse range of interests. Quite the eclectic little boy. jbostTV. Okay, how you doing, buddy?
You know, I've been anticipating what your intro is going to be because, you know, I listened to the first two episodes and a lot longer than it should have taken me because I do support you very much. But I was like, I always want to know what people are going to say about me because I think I'm more curious about that than the other way around, you know? I can try and decide what I am, but I want to hear what other people think about me.
A stupid bitch.
Yeah. Video essayist is very interesting.
Well, I mean, I didn't really know because I don't like the term commentary, and you're not doing that. You're not giving commentary on like current events, you know. You'll like pick a story, tell it pretty well, which is like kind of summarize it while also giving your own, you know, memes and overtones and interweaving it with meme little commercials, ads, whatever the fuck, Dr. J-Boss type shit.
I know, I am really trying to, it depends on how complicated of a video that I do it, but I am trying to, I think Chernobyl is like the quintessential of what I want the future of my content to be. Because I think I did a really good job of employing the help of multiple people, establishing a bunch of funny stuff, as well as properly documenting what happened in Chernobyl and also giving a fairly decent lesson onto how nuclear energy works.
Yes. So do you mean that more from like the respect of the other, like as far as subject matter goes? Because you touched on aliens and then a cult from Japan. So do you mean like more kind of, well, Shinrikyo was a historical event of sorts, and they kind of
not necessarily about content, more so about just how I approach it, how that it is demonstrated. Like I have a million ideas, and I'm constantly thinking about shit on you know what I'm going to do next, what I want to do going into the future, and I mean I've talked about them with you, and I've mentioned them. Kind of like if I ever covered Jeffrey Dahmer, there's going to be a nice little skit right in the middle of Cooking with Dahmer, where it's going to be a cooking show where he talks about you know this is how you sear a sausage.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, because I also think that the Chernobyl video, not just because I'm a part of it, is your best video. And I was rewatching it the other day in preparation for this. Ooh. And I like forgot that I sent you that phone call stuff. Oh. That's like my favorite segment. Like that shit is so stupid and so funny.
I know, and it's like I come up with these jokes and I'm just like, I have to do a prank call.
And it was so ridiculous how, I mean, people who want to know more about the story, go watch J-Boss video. You know, it's better produced than the HBO series, all right? So go over there instead, you know?
And I had so much anxiety when it came to the Chernobyl one because it's kind of like every time that I've taken a video, I think the Betty and Barney Hill one, I didn't necessarily challenge myself with, which is kind of like, it's been like almost like I feel like I let it down almost. Like I'm not looking too fondly on that video.
Okay.
But with a lot of videos, I was like challenging myself in different ways because I would always tell myself, as soon as I get through this one, the next one will be super easy because I figured this out.
Yeah, that's
so
dumb.
Once I figure out the process, it's perfect. It's great. But then it's like, I realized that the topics I was covering, suddenly it's like, oh, wait, no. Documenting one person's life on how he took over 30,000 people's lives and became like a crazy man. One person compared to trying to document the events of an entire city and its a global impact are wildly different. And it's so hard to, go from honing in on one to kind of doing like a wide scatter shot on the other. And I want to keep doing that because it does make for better video making, obviously.
Yeah. And I mean, just honing it, like I have that sort of misconception too, where every time I go into a video, like I'm like, oh, you know what? Like this one, I'm kind of going to just like breeze through it. Cause like, say for like, I'm working on this Epstein video right now and I'm just in the throes of editing it. And I was like, oh, this is going to be easy. It's only like a minute long video. And then like I was watching these tutorials and I was like, there's so much I can do with this. I can just, and then so I just like, every single time I like force myself to dig deeper, which is good. I like that.
Well, and it's very important, especially when you get those ideas. It's instead of like sticking to your guns on whatever you want that to be, it's important you come up with an idea and you fucking chase it because it's better to go go after it because it could allowing your product, as we're going to call it, to evolve as you're working on it.
Yes.
So that it's not the same as it's continuing.
I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, I think Casey Neistat talked about it a long, long time ago in one of his videos. He was like, ideas are worth 1 point and like execution is worth 99.
I'm focusing a lot of time on research because I'm always trying to research something, regardless of if that's the topic of the video that I'm doing next or not. I'm trying to read a book or listen to a book while I'm working that at least has some sort of connection to something that I would like to do sometime in the future.
I have been doing the exact same thing right now. I've been reading so much lately, partly for that reason. And partly because I had set a goal in the beginning of the year that I was going to read 80 books. And no, that did not happen. I did not even come close. I'm at like 47 for the year. And I just like to cross like 50 or 52. 52 would be nice so I could get that book a week thing, So I've been kind of cramming. But yes, I have also been doing quite a bit of research. And a lot of it is for stuff like I have ideas for videos where I'm like, okay, I want to do this video where I kind of like fuck with like tarot a little bit. But I knew nothing about tarot like a month or two ago, and now I know something. But there's a lot to go. Like I can read a book or two, but there's ways to go still before I can write a video about it.
Well, and that's how it is. It's like I had to read it's always like 2 to 3 books. I always try to read 2 to 3 books for each video that I do. That way, I'm not getting a singular viewpoint, so there's no bias involved, and also it's almost like the repetition really helps to develop the story because as soon as I know the story better, and I can document it well without kind of relying on other means, constantly going back and forth between notes and stuff. As soon as I can just verbatim spit that shit out, obviously it makes the video better. And I think that is, to give Betty and Barney Hill that video, to give it credit, that is the first one where I didn't necessarily have to rely on a script. Like I wrote my script out, but I knew most of the points that I wanted to hit, and I could at least get through the story without really relying on anything. Yeah. It's been a really long time since I haven't been so dependent on a script. Because I almost have like paranoia when it comes to straying away from the script. Yeah.
And when you have such a firm grasp on the concept matter, you don't have to think about the form, and you can kind of improvise because you're doing it unconsciously. So you can put your mind is allowed to like be creative because it doesn't have to focus on holding the story down. It's got that. It can do it unconsciously. So you get into what Mikhaili Csikszentmihalyi, or however you say his name, talks about flow, where the flow state, right?
Yes. Where your brain is just able to do it organically without there's no like beam that you have to rest yourself up against. There's no support system. You're able to just kind of flow. I don't know. My brain knows what I'm saying.
No, I think people get it if they're not stupid. Hopefully. We'll see. Let's be honest. If people are listening to this, what do you think their IQ is? 10? 20?
You got to give them some credit. At least like 25.
Okay, fair enough. So severely autistic children are listening to my podcast. But yeah, speaking of, shout out to Edgar, because he's the one who actually brought you to mind, because I was struggling. A lot of people like canceled, and I canceled on a good amount of people, or just put off podcasts for a lot of people, because I was like, I'm moving in a bit, and I just it was troublesome. Everybody's available like not great times, and I hate recording at night. So I was like, you know what? No. And then I was like, who the fuck am I going to get a podcast with? And Edgar was messaging me. He was like, Bost, and I was like, yeah, I forgot about it, because you disappear for a while and just don't.
I do.
Yeah. It's not even like you don't upload, because I'll go spaces within uploading as well. But you don't tweet, you don't post on Instagram, you don't do nothing. You just disappear.
No, well, it's just, and it's like, I want to be better at that. I keep thinking, I was listening to the OK Champ one, and, talking about how releasing more content more frequently, even, and like 30-second bits.
Yeah.
And it was kind of having my brain, I was just kind of like brainstorming on it. I was like, I should really try and do that, just so that it's not, because I was like thinking about it. I was like, I could make like a really easy 30-second like joke skit where it's like, the doctor makes a sandwich,
Yeah. And it's just like fodder for the fans,
Yes. And I just, and it's like, I always want to, I'm stuck in this line where it's like, I want to push YouTube as a platform in terms of quality, and, because I want more creators that are in the ilk of like JonTron and kind of AVGN, but he's kind of petered off at this point. But more like I want more content that has more effort put onto YouTube, because I think a lot of the people that are just like, it's just a fucking YouTube video, is very damaging to the potential of what the platform could be.
Yeah.
You know, if you have really high quality bullshit going onto the site and, you know, driving more traffic because it's more high quality, you know, because somebody's sitting there like, holy shit, this is just a fucking YouTube video and it looks fucking great.
Yes.
If you get more of that reaction, suddenly the platform seems, you know, it's more than just a host site for fucking Tonight Show clips.
Agreed. Completely agreed. One other person I've been watching, the tutorials I was speaking of earlier, there's this creator, Mouthy Buddha. I don't know if you've ever seen his videos.
No.
Oh my God, they're so good. They're so high quality. They're fucking fantastic. I really recommend everybody check him out. He talks about a lot of stuff that you would like. I really think you would like his stuff. He talks about like UFOs, all types of shit. But speaking of low effort, in the, I believe it was the Chernobyl video, there's like this ad where you kind of shit on the low effort of podcasting. Mm-hmm. You know, that's sort of one thing because I had an old podcast that I did a lot of episodes and I deleted them all because they're garbage. And it's not something I want to think about. But one thing when getting back into podcasting that I did not want to do was end up there where it was like, I don't even want to have a sketch. Like, I'm not going to put these out weekly, I decided, because I hate the idea and I hate the feeling of like scrambling after a guest that I might not all the way want to talk to. And like, you know, because I look into you talked about this in, I believe it was the Shinrikyo video where you were like, please make the content that I'm researching not suck because it makes my job easier.
Yes. And that's exactly what that fucking Chernobyl, the ad in the Chernobyl video, it's that same exact thing where like I'm trying to research this and you think that you're so fucking smart in what you're doing, but it's like, it's not, you're not helping anything.
Yeah.
That one, it literally was a fucking nightmare. That whole podcast, because I just found it because I was just looking for podcasts that I could just casually listen to about Chernobyl, you know, just kind of as like a passive research more than anything.
Are you talking about the Chernobyl television podcast, the one they did with the show?
No. It's just a podcast of people who think that they can talk about spooky stuff and be funny.
Oh, okay.
That's all that it was. And it was like, we're going to cover the monsters of Chernobyl, you know, and it was the first like hour, probably 30 minutes. You know, I'm being a little hyperbolic.
It's okay. No one's fact checking you.
I know.
As we said, the listeners are severely autistic. We can lie as much as we want.
Right. It's okay. We got to puff up as much as it is. So it really, you know, increases the turmoil that we're existing through.
Yes.
But the first fucking 30 minutes was them like trying to do a cross section of 1986. So we're going to list like great TV moments of 1986 and actors that were born in 1986 and all the hit singles in 1986 and all of the hit movies in 1986. And it was just like, I didn't come here to fucking learn about 1986. I do not fucking care.
Podcasters are so dumb. Like, they're really, I hate it. I hate it because there's a whole disincentive to starting a podcast because everybody has a podcast now. And it's like, God, I hate how saturated it is with retards.
No, yes, exactly. And it's the same thing that's happened everywhere. It's everywhere. It's like you're having to wade through shit and trying to find some way to prove yourself as not shit.
Yeah.
And it's just fucking difficult.
I really urge every dumb podcaster to start podcasting from Chernobyl. That way, I don't know, at least you can't have progeny, even if you might live somewhat long.
Right. Well, you'll live, like, and that's what was very surprising when I was researching that. It's because it's like there's such a stigma of Chernobyl, like you can't fucking go there or you'll die, and then it turns out that you can go there and it's not that big a deal. I was listening to Last Podcast on the Left a lot because that's the one that really kind of got me excited in terms of trying to do this irreverent cult-based humor. Because it's like they were doing it and it's like, I really wanted a visual aspect. Like I wanted, like, they're talking about, oh man, this guy looks so gross. You know, he looks like Jabba the Hutt, you know, had sex with fucking Peppa Pig or some bullshit. And I was like, I want to fucking see that. Like, saying it and describing it is one thing. I want this visual aspect. And I was like, well, I guess, you know, I can try and be that, you know, the visual side of it and trying to, you know, not, you know, mimicking their humor, but, you know, encapsulating my humor and presenting it and, you know, being able to show it. And that's where.
Do you ever find it like troublesome? Because, you know, we were mentioning OK Champ and making short videos, but what you do, I mean, you'll make 20, 30, 40 minute videos in some cases. Do you ever think about how, because I mean, like, just as sort of a fact of the YouTube algorithm, kind of how unviable that can be to get new viewers.
I do all the time. I did get a comment on Amjin and fucking the dude's a champ because he literally said, I stuck around for 15 minutes. I had no idea what the fuck you were talking about. I'm sorry. I cannot keep watching this.
Respect.
And I was like, the fact that you were making a vested effort of 15 minutes, like fucking.
It's more than 99% of people.
Yes, exactly. Like I could not imagine sitting something for, well, I mean, I'm just not that kind of person, but like, I hate this. This is fucking stupid for 15 minutes. Like, you're really some sort of fucking sadistic son of a bitch for doing that.
Or yeah, he might just have way too much time on his hands, I
do kind of, I grapple with that, but I think there's a bit of both. I think there are people that are like, I think shorter videos are obviously more viable for garnering an audience. It's a lot easier to get an audience when your videos are short because then you're not pestering them, and it's a kind of like a slow burn to make these people fall in love with you because that's all that you're doing.
Yes.
But I know a lot of people that are like, I need like 25-minute to hour-long videos because it's like this is my evening. This is what I do.
Yeah, people like to relax to this shit, and let's be honest, TV sucks.
Yes, exactly.
Like, I don't remember the last time I watched the last TV show I watched may have been the Chernobyl show, which was like over a year ago now, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it was because that was right around when I don't think it was over. That was like back in like the summer.
I don't remember, honestly. I can't.
Because it was I released my Chernobyl video in August, and I was pissed that I didn't release it like 2 months earlier in conjunction with the start of the series.
Right.
Because that would have,
Yeah, I remember we talked about that.
Yeah, so it was about 6 months ago, I would say.
Yeah, and I agree. And it's like annoying to surf through like 15 videos. Like there's obviously a lane for it, but like you said, you kind of need a base at that point. iDubbbz is another person who I'm glad is kind of venturing that way as well with the documentary he did about the Fat Boy.
Yes, and I wish he would do more because it seems like I don't know if that's what he's planning on doing, if that's what he's like, if that's like his plan for the future is trying to cover these like viral memes.
Yes.
I was thinking about this the other day, in relation to the Full Force video. If there's going to be a new generation of kids that are just like trying to do really dumb shit in hopes that iDubbbz comes out and fucking does a video on them.
What do you mean that, like, what if? Like, that's what people do with their lives now. Like, they do that to become, like, SoundCloud rappers. Like, they're like, what?
I know, but, like,
what color hair? And, like,
I
remember when I was in middle school, there was, like, this viral video on Facebook about this girl, like, eating a bloody tampon.
Oh.
And, yeah, man. I remember all types of shit like that. It was like, whoa. I can't imagine being a middle schooler or a high school right now. Oh, yeah, one thing I wanted to mention before, I was having thoughts about like a dystopian millennial future where it's like, oh man, like, and you talked about this right before we started, where you were like, why do we only have conversations once a year as a podcast? Like, and I was like thinking about it. I was like, in the future, it's going to be like two millennials and they're going to be like, oh man, I heard he basically like he was having a podcast with his dad, but like they didn't record it. What? He was like, oh yeah, my grandpa was I think that's like called a conversation or something. I don't, and they're like, what's the point of that? I don't get it.
Why would you talk to somebody without trying to have some sort of financial viability?
Broadcasting it to the world. Not even financial viability, just putting it out, because let's be honest, that's like the 0.01% of all content.
Well, everybody I think is just looking to they just want to be accepted.
Get
they couldn't
attention.
Be accepted by their they couldn't be accepted
points.
by their friends that are in the same town, so they're trying to prove everybody that they can be accepted and they can be loved by hundreds of people.
Yeah, man. Because like in colleges, I think help because like colleges have like clubs for all the freaks to get together and like conglomerate. That's where you kind of mostly see, I think, those like SJW. I remember I was a vegan briefly in college. Shameful time in my life. But
I think we've all had it. Mine was in high school. So.
Well, guys, I can't not recommend that diet enough. But yeah, I remember I went to this vegan club because I didn't really have any friends and I was bored. And basically I wanted to meet girls. So I went. And my God, I didn't go back. Those were the craziest, most left wing motherfuckers. And I'm liberal. But I'm not left anymore, at least because of what that's become. and it's disgusting.
Well,
I don't want to.
Yeah, it's so hard. I believe that it is such a strong, like, a vocal minority. Like, there is such a small amount of people that actually are so, like, irrevocably pissed off about stupid shit.
Yes.
And 9 times out of 10, if you did see these people in public, they would not say shit to you. Because they're all fucking betas.
Dude, that's what bothers me the most. Like, oh my God. Okay, so England just had their election and Boris Johnson won against Jeremy Corbyn. You know, if I was a Brit, I would have probably voted for Corbyn. Not the biggest fan of Brexit, or not the biggest fan of not doing Brexit. I don't think Brexit's as horrible as people think. But the thing is, these people will pigeonhole it as being like, it's racist. It's all racist. Every Tory is a racist. And it's the same way kind of Republicans are viewed in the United States. And I just saw, like, I follow a few British people on Twitter, and I just saw them like, oh, you know, we need to start like riots and like, oh God, every Tory is a cunt racist. And I'm like, bro, like, you're like, why are you calling for riots? Like, you're not, even if there was a riot, you would not attend because you're a bitch.
Right.
Like, you're not the one like to be calling for this. So shut the fuck up. It's so annoying.
You know what's crazy, and this is completely unrelated, but more so on the mark of peaceful protest, I guess. Just recently, we had a shooting where it was a minority who got shot dead by a cop because he saw him reaching for his pants as he was running away from him. So, bop, 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 shot him dead. Yeah. And then a few months later, it was deemed as justified because he had a gun in his pants and he could have, you know, shot and blah, blah, blah. It's that same issue of, police brutality and bullshit like that. Yeah. And there was, we have a Festival of Lights. I don't know how widespread of a thing this is, but it's like a Festival of Lights parade downtown. Where it's just like, yeah, look at lights, and you know, it's just Christmas. We're celebrating winter and bullshit. And there was a bunch of people who showed up with signs at that thing because it was like right around it was maybe like a week after it had been pronounced as justified. They were, you know, walking around and doing peaceful protest, and people are like, it's not peaceful. Look, they're causing a disturbance. And I was like, is that not what, like, is that not being not peaceful? Like, just because they're, you know, standing in the middle of not of the parade, they're like in the crowd of people and they're just walking back and forth along the sidewalk. Well, chanting.
There is that charge of disturbing the peace, right?
Yeah. Well, and all of them did get arrested. So,
oh my God.
Yeah. So, and I was like, and it just turned into a big thing, but just in the mark of like I never expected there to actually be like a protest in my city. But I mean, lo and behold, here it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, I would just say, I mean, if you're going to have a festival of flashing lights, like the best thing to do would just be to invite all the epileptic kids and not tell them in advance. And then
we're just trying
to be like, oh man, look at all the kids they're on ecstasy and they're going crazy with the electronic music, not knowing that everyone's just having a seizure. That's why you should get CBD, which is not a sponsor of this podcast. So, you know.
Are you doing the CBD?
No.
No? Okay.
I've considered it. I have like a ton of allergies. And
I know you do. I know you are a medical freak.
I am. And it's a lot easier to just be like, oh, I'm allergic to everything. So, you know, I've tried the CBD, but it's just like, yeah, I don't like to itch the back of my head because that's where it goes for some reason. But yeah, and I'll occasionally smoke weed, which obviously has it in it, but not so much anymore. Last time I smoked weed, I was in Portland, and it was my first time trying legal weed, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, bro, it's like a whole nother fucking ball game. All right. So I go into the weed dispensary and I was like looking at the things, and there's like a 40% THC, 10%, a 3%, 30%. And I was like, okay, if 30, 40 is like the top, you know, and 3%, I'm not a bitch. Right. So I opted for 15. And
yeah, always straight down the middle. I kind of do the same fucking shit.
Yes, but like really, I had no idea what the numbers meant. Like I was going blind regardless, right? So I get this pre-rolled joint and I take it back to the Airbnb where I was staying, and I was nervous. I hadn't smoked weed in a long time. I don't know how strong it is. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take 2 hits and just like wait and see what happens, right? So at the same time, the other kid who was in the Airbnb was outside, and he was like looking at me, and I was like, I don't want to look like a bitch. So I took 4 hits. And wow, that was such a mistake. I mean, I had the worst panic attack of my life. My chest, you know how you can flex your pecs?
Yes.
Yeah, they would not unflex.
Oh.
And I was immensely scared. My back hurt so badly. I couldn't breathe. I told the other people in the Airbnb to call an ambulance because I thought I was having a heart attack.
I was like,
and
don't tell me weed doesn't kill people.
Because I thought I was having some kind of allergic reaction because I do have like a chronic illness. And
yes, I know. I'm very well aware of your bitch of a body.
Yes, it kind of just pushed out of me for some reason. And so I was like just very scared, and like obviously weed makes you paranoid and think the worst thoughts. So I was like, oh, it's obviously this going around. So I get in an ambulance, cost me a shit ton of money.
$2,000
and I went to the hospital. Did I tell you this?
No, I just know the cost of a fucking ambulance because our healthcare system is fucking retarded.
It's fucking horrible. It cost me so much money. I was so mad at myself, really, because it was my own fault. But so I went to the hospital, and I just remember like the ambulance lady was like, no, you're just, you're fine. I was like, Mom, not fine, bitch. And then,
I know what's going on with my body.
Yeah. So we get to the hospital, and she was like, I just kind of like exclaimed after I realized that I was fine. I was like, this is fucking pathetic. And she was like, no, it's not. I've taken people here for like much worse reasons. And I was like, yeah, a lot of people are pathetic. I'm just one of them. And she just kind of laughed, and she was like, oh, okay.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that was fucking, you nailed that. That was so well done. That was a good stand-up joke.
You know what's funny? I tried doing that bit at I did a show. I did an open mic, and I did this bit, and it bombed so hard. Dead silence. It was terrible.
But that's so funny. I would have laughed, but that's just whenever
I think I told about it. It was my first time telling the story again, so I think I just had it like disorganized.
It's all about repetition. I mean, that's how you get it. You just fucking tell it over and over. You fucking take, omnipresent notes as you're doing it. Okay, I got a couple chuckles out of this one, so this is what I have to nail on.
I mean, and it just goes to show how fucked up my mind is, because after, like, when I was sitting in the waiting room of the hospital, I was taking down that conversation in my phone so I could do stand-up about it. So, like, that's just, like, the sickness of a comic.
But that's so fucking good. And it's just, you deliver that perfectly. I would have laughed, but whenever you put me in a crowd environment, I just become a fucking idiot. Where it's like, I'll be in the middle of a movie, fucking, and I'm the only one laughing, and I'm laughing out loud. So it's not even like crowd environment of crowd think. You put me in a crowd, and it's like suddenly I have to be the one who's having the best time. Like,
I love being in a crowd where it's not appropriate to laugh, and just like me and my friends would do this to each other all the time. Like if it was like a moment of silence for something. I remember my friend did it to me in a very horrible way. It was the moment of silence basically like a week after Sandy Hook. It was real bad. We were sitting in our school had a chapel, and we were sitting in there, and we were having a moment of silence, and my friend leans over to my ear and he says, you are my possession, which is, if you've seen Eastbound and Down, it's what Danny McBride's character says to Will Ferrell's character, I think. Talking about, like, him as a slave. And it was like, he just whispered it to me during the moment of silence. And I was, like, just really so close to just bursting. Ooh. It was scary. And luckily there was this stupid kid in my grade who was late to chapel, and he was like rapping out loud to himself and walked in. So luckily the attention, like nobody even noticed that I was about to die. But yeah, he looked like the asshole, not me. So that was him. It was a close one. I'll say that much.
Oh, life.
High school, man. It feels so far away now, doesn't it? Aren't we old?
It does. I mean, I'm coming up on my 10-year anniversary.
Shit. No, you're not. What? All right, how old are you? 25, 24?
I'm 26. I'll be 27 next year.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're decrepit.
Yep, I am decrepit.
Yes.
Well, because we're not even in the same generation, right? You are.
Are we not?
I'm pretty sure you're borderline Zillennial. Are you not?
I'm 23. I don't know what that means. Zillennial.
Well, what year were you born? You born 95?
96.
96. Oh yeah, you're fucking you're full blown Zillennial.
Really? Duh. Is that what is Zillennial? Is that Gen Z?
You're Gen Z, yes.
Oh, that's
because I'm millennial. This is because I'm the borderline.
Wait,
I'm like on the.
am I? I'm not in the same tier as like Nunikin, am I? No.
Because, 95 to 2005.
He's like, what, 17, 16?
He is 17.
Okay.
Because he is a senior in high school. But he was, so he was born
What's the border for what's the one after Z called? What's the one?
I think they've been joking around, it's like Gen 1, but that's like 2005 to 2015.
Oh, okay. I feel like that's unfair. I feel like once we hit the thousands, like 90s kids should be able to kind of have their own thing, you know? Fuck everybody else. 90s kids, cool enough for me.
It kind of seems like, because it's like, I don't know, like the smartphone didn't come out until I was like deep into high school. And that's like kind of what defines my generation. It's kind of like growing up with the millennia.
Yeah.
Whereas you do not have a memory of the millennia, I would imagine. And if you do, it's very fleeting.
No, I don't remember 9/11 and I'm from New York.
Oh, dude, I do. I was fucking third grade, man. I was standing.
I was in kindergarten.
Mr. Fogel. Mr. Fogel was my teacher. We were out in the trailer for some reason. Because I did have like a teacher, but then it's like, oh, we got this new teacher, Mr. Fogel, and she was black. And like, it's an important piece of the story.
I feel like that was just, it's kind of like a sign of the times, like in 01, like, oh, and she's black. And we mentioned this because it's 2001. That's where we're at.
And I remember, because she fucking yelled at us all the time. Like, she was constantly just screaming at us for nothing.
Respect.
And I remember it was like, because I remember 9/11 because I didn't fucking know what the fuck was going on. Because I get up, my mom, we lived like out of district, so we would drive like 20 minutes to go to school.
You weren't immediate like, Mom, it was the Mossad and the neocons working together, and you didn't just say that immediately when you saw it coming down?
No, because I didn't know what the fuck was happening, and my mom didn't know it because she didn't watch the news. Like, she got up, she like, she would work nights, and then she'd like, fuck, I gotta take my son to school, so she throw on.
No, that was a joke. I was just thinking it would be funny if like a third grader would just be like, yeah, it was the Israelis and the neocons and the U.S. did it.
Right, just being so aware,
just red-pilled right off the bat. I had that thought because in fifth grade. When I was in fifth grade, I think I had to do a little profile on LBJ, and looking back on it now and seeing how like much of an evil cunt LBJ was for like getting us into Nam and how much he profited off JFK's death to a point where it's a little bit suspicious and etc. Right? I just imagine myself going like back in time and like instead of giving like a normal like whitewash presentation on LBJ, like going up and be like, yeah, it's really weird like how George H.W. Bush was also in Dallas at the time and he said he wasn't, and like just like this high-pitched fifth grader dropping all these red pill bombs. It would be so great if I could go back and do it. My teacher's like looking on in horror or just not understanding, most likely.
Well, what's crazy is if you want to get into the whole JFK and assassination, because I did read a book because that is one of the future possibilities. That was going to be the next one, but I think I've suited myself for something else. But I was reading one. It was like it's a book that came out the most recently, but it's like the true story behind the JFK assassination.
There's 10 million books about JFK, so I mean, there's no way to place it.
No, yeah, I know, but it's talking about it was by the mafia.
Okay.
And like fucking because there was what the fuck is his name?
Well, there was the guy who killed Lee Harvey Oswald. He was in the mob. They know that. And then
no, yeah, exactly. I mean, it talked about a lot of that shit. It talked about how like they're pretty sure that Lee Harvey Oswald was an informant for the FBI.
He was. That's just a fact.
Yeah. As soon as it's like, hey, by the way, this is our suspect, the fucking FBI is like, well, fuck, we gotta burn all of the shit that we have on him fucking right now.
Yeah. No, it's ridiculous. And I mean, if you look at the people surrounding Lee Harvey Oswald, like George Zamora and Schilt, like when he started coming out and being honest about like his relationship with Lee Harvey Oswald and started dropping minor little red pills here and there. And then, he's found shotgunned himself in the face. It's like, all right.
Cobained himself.
Yeah. It's weird. And the guy who killed Lee Harvey Oswald Jack Ruby, correct. In his statement to the police or whoever after he gets arrested, he's like, yeah, this goes deeper than all of you will ever find out. And like, that's just the most damning part of it,
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, exactly.
Besides the fact that Lee Harvey Oswald literally, as soon as he gets picked up, he's like, I'm a patsy. Mm-hmm. Like, bruh. That whole narrative is just a million bruh moments.
I was reading this book and I was like, what the fuck? Like, we have this book now because I think the book came out in like 2011. It's like, it was, it's like I'm getting red pilled. I was like, why the fuck are we still teaching our children that Lee Harvey Oswald killed JFK when there's so many glaring signs that he did not? that the Warren Commission was just set up to fucking keep the Americans fat and happy.
Alan Dulles headed the Warren Commission.
Well, it's I was thinking about it. I was like, the only reason that they fucking did it, the only reason that they're like, we need to get this done as quickly as possible was because they needed to look good. It's like they wanted to put some sort of like safety net around the United States. Like, we have to get this solved as quickly as possible so that people, so people don't think that we're fucking incompetent at our jobs. But in the long term, just proving exactly how incompetent they fucking are.
I mean, it's not even only that. It's like, let's close it off. Because what Americans or people like is a simple narrative that assuages all their fears. Mm-hmm. Like, knowing that your government is capable of this and how much they're capable, like, that's scary. It leaves a lot of unknowns. People don't like unknowns. So if you can construct a simple narrative of lone gunman, this is why he did it, people will just kind of, it's the same thing with 9/11. Like, I don't know what happened with 9/11, but the official narrative is a load of shit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, and again, Alan Dulles, the guy JFK ousted as director of the CIA after the Bay of Pigs, was the head of the Warren Commission. Like, Alan Dulles hated JFK.
Well, and there's so many of those things. Like, I remember in the book that I was reading, it was talking about like their plots to kill Fidel Castro.
Operation Mongoose, I believe.
And one of them was like they wanted to get somebody to gift him a scuba suit that was just lined with like anthrax, and they put like a bunch of poisonous spores inside of the filter.
They had a bunch of hilariously stupid ideas.
Yeah, and then there was another one where it was like we're gonna plant a shiny seashell at the bottom of this this reef that we know that Fidel Castro likes to go scuba diving in. And
they had like a self-choking necktie.
And I was just like, Jesus Christ. But I think what it was they were also trying to find a plan to take out Fidel Castro with the mafia. They were trying to set up like a plot with him.
Apparently Jack Ruby was there, right? Jack Ruby, wasn't he enlisted as one of the people to try and kill Castro?
I believe so, because then it turns out it's like the exact same plan that they were, setting up with the mafia that JFK had no fucking idea about, because JFK was him and RFK were super anti-mafia. Like, they wanted to take down the mob.
RFK was doing it.
No, yeah, exactly.
RFK was a G, and that's why they killed him, too.
Well, that's why they killed JFK. They're like, if we kill JFK, this is going to stop Bobby, from fucking with us. But then it turned out that it didn't. So I was like, well, fuck, we got to kill him, too. But then it's like the plan that they were demonstrating with the mafia, the CIA and the mafia, was the exact same plan, like verbatim, the exact same plan that they used to kill JFK. And I was just like, so the CIA is like, well, fuck, like, we know exactly what fucking happened, but like, if this gets out, we're fucked.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, what's funny about when people say like, oh, like they're not creative, they do the same thing. And I agree. There's like weird patterns that reoccur, and obviously coup attempts. I don't know how creative you can get with them. Just kind of kill the leader, put in a new one.
Yes.
That's that type of thing. But when people are like, oh, it's the Archons, they're not creative, and you talked about it in one of your videos. I forget which one, where you're like, you're not supposed to say their name, but like that's retarded.
Yes.
But it's so stupid. Like there's so much real shit that happens, like the JFK assassination, that it's like, why are you concerned about this? Like, why are you making conjecture about them also being lizards and not having creativity? Like, why do you, what's up with the extra step, bro? Like, is this not interesting enough for you? I don't get it.
Right. It's more fucked up and interesting that there's a possibility that all of our government leaders are being forced to have sex with children to keep them fucking quiet. That's wildly more interesting and more fucking fucked up than, it's actually a bunch of lizard people that live under DIA and they're just farming us to, ensure the continuation of their species.
Yeah. Tim Dillon does a bit about it on his podcast, where it's like, with the whole Epstein thing, like everyone's like freaking out about like the temple, and like, yeah, guys, like the whole them just fucking kids, that's not enough for you. Like, it's like we've really got to go the extra mile here, and that's what bothers me about the whole conspiracy world. And like, I can't sit through, like, I'm not really into UFOs, even though I know like there's evidence about that and stuff, and I'm just not into the extra mile shit. Like, I can't buy into it. It's the same thing with like, I'm a spiritual person, but as soon as we get dogmatic, fuck off,
Yeah, believing that there's something there, but once you fucking put a pin to it, it's like, I don't want any part of this.
And it's just, I don't know, like, it can be kind of fun but people take it so serious.
Aliens are fun, and it's like more than anything, they're like really fun like stories. Like right now, I'm researching Planet Serpo. Have you heard of that one?
I have not, but I also wanted to ask you: is this what your next video is going to be? We can get into that after because I want to see.
No. I'm not doing aliens. I'm trying to still kind of like diversify my
repertoire.
Yes, exactly. So I'm trying to like kind of hit like major points, like, all right, here's a cult, here's a ghost, here's a fucking, natural disaster.
Just set the genres out before you kind of go deep.
Yeah, because I don't want to, I don't want like too much repetition on the same things because I don't want to pigeonhole myself more than anything.
Yeah, I feel you.
But Planet Serpo is just, it's like it's like in the 50s. Dwight D. Eisenhower made an agreement with these aliens that had come, and they're like, we're going to take 12 of your people back to our home planet in the Zeta Reticula system.
You talked about this in the Betty and Barney Hill.
Well, it's like there's so many aliens that come out of the Zeta Reticula system, but not off of the Zeta Reticula planet. And I was just like, okay, but it's the Planet Serpo, and it's just like their, I think, 12-year existence on that planet, and like how much of a fucking shit show it turned into. Because I think one of the guys died, he fell or something. Like they didn't murder him, he just kind of fell, and he died, and they took the body away. Or it's like, and then I think another one is like they broke his arm and they just like sprayed some shit on it, and it's like, boom, it healed, and you're like, whoa. But the guy that died from falling, it's like a little bit later, they like were like, one of the guys was like looking around, and they found the body, and it turns out that the aliens were just like straight up eating him, and then like using some of his DNA to try and make clones. And they're like, what the fuck is going on here?
Wait, so I don't understand. Is this like somebody's account of seeing aliens or some shit?
It's somebody's account of going to an alien planet, being invited. This is like within the government.
Okay.
They took a bunch of like military generals and people from the military, a small squadron, got on the alien ship, went out to Planet Serpo, and lived there for like 12 years.
Okay.
And then came back. And then one guy started anonymously posting on some message
So
board.
when you read this stuff, how often, because you've done your fair bit of research into like Betty and Barney Hill and things like this of this nature, obviously, how often are you just like, these people are fucking crackpots? Because that's like where I tend to jump.
All the fucking time. Like, I remember it was within the Betty and Barney Hill. It's like, it was, I'm like, for the most part, I'm just trying to like, yeah, whatever. I'm just like trying to take the story at face value. But then it was like, whenever there's like these glaring inconsistencies within the writing, because it was like, there was this one where it was like, Barney had just died, and Betty just fucking goes off the deep end. And she's just like she's claiming that everything is a UFO. Like there's like a weather balloon, and she's like, look, it's a UFO. And then she would start taking people out on drives to like her family's farm, because her family's farm happened to be like a known UFO sighting point.
And then you said she did that same shit to other people. She was like, hey, stop calling all these weather balloons UFOs, bitch.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, so like, what the fuck? Like, what is this? Like, is this bad writing, or is she just fucking stupid?
But like, the thing is with her in that situation, I could see it if like, say, she got abducted the once. That's her only ever contact with aliens. That shit would drive you nuts. And fair, I can be like, okay, I can discount everything after that and maybe say her first story is the most credible, and then she went nuts because she got abducted by aliens. That would drive people nuts. I get that. Mm-hmm. Especially if nobody believed you. Imagine that.
It's the first documented one. But did you listen? Are you a purveyor of the Joe Rogan podcast?
I am.
Did you listen to the Dan Aykroyd episode?
I did. Dude's a nut.
He surprisingly talked about like Betty and Barney Hill a lot.
Dude, he's so knowledge,ble, and I was like, this dude is crazy.
And I was like, and it was, I was just like, and I was like listening to him talk, and I was just like, hey, I really like when I can like, know more about the subject. Like that's my favorite thing is like, I know more about this than this person does. Cause Dan Aykroyd was like, yeah, it happened in like the 50s. And I was like, no, it happened in the 60s.
Bitch.
What was he saying? I don't know. It's like, he is just like fucking off.
He was knowledgeable as fuck. He was dropping names.
Yes, exactly. And it's like, and it's like his whole thing is like, what do they have to gain? Like they have nothing to gain off of, they're risking their life by doing this.
No. People like attention. That's it.
That's all that it is.
Have you seen The Thin Blue Line?
No.
It's this documentary by Errol Morris. Sorry about being retarded. It's great. It's about this dude who gets falsely accused of killing a cop. And I believe the movie actually even vindicated him. He was in jail for life, and I believe it got him out.
That's good.
Yeah. But, I mean, he spent a while in jail. Like,
it's kind of like that fucking making a murderer bullshit. Ooh,
I never watched that. But regardless, there was this woman who claimed to be a witness of the shooting. And she's this like woman who's like all dolled up. She looks like she's made of plaster, retarded looking, like, and just like, oh yeah, you know, we drove by and it was super dark and like, but I saw this guy with like long hair, and she changed her story like 3 times, and she was obviously fucking lying. Like, you can kind of make your own conjecture to be like, okay, she was paid off. There was something going on here. Like, because this bitch was just lying. And like, they had an interview with her next door neighbor, and she was like, yeah, I would not trust these people. Like, they like do all kinds of bullshit like this all the time. And
right,
it was like, yeah, people make up shit because they're attention whores. That's it.
And that's all it really comes down to. Like, yeah, they, you know, everybody, that's why everybody does everything that they do. Like, I mean, you know, you and I are both on that, you know, that train ride to fucking attention.
Yeah, I agree. But I think there's just a difference when you talk about like drawing a line of what you'll do for it. You know what I mean? Perjure, obviously, for one. Don't think I'd do that.
Yes.
Just like, I'd like to, you know, get attention for being myself. Like, obviously both of us could garner more views if we did kind of more pandery shit, right? I mean, we both, like, I'm sure you have as well. I've seen lanes, like separate timelines where I'm like, you know, if I go down that road, you know, I'd probably get more views. Like, if I focus more on this aspect of a thing. I know a lot of other YouTubers who I had on my old podcast who have over 100,000 subscribers. I could get in contact with those people. I could have them on this podcast. But the thing is, I hate their fucking content. I really can't stand it. It sucks. And I don't want to have them on. I'm just not interested.
You know, so I always get so worried because you are such a hypercritical person, especially when it comes to the things that you watch. And that's, you know, that's totally well within your right. But it's like every time I make a video, I'm just always like, fuck, what if Mammoth doesn't like it?
Well, I'm glad my opinion means so much.
It's because we've been doing this for a couple of years. Like we've been
in the same circle. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, we don't talk nearly as much as I would like to, but that's probably my own fault. But like,
it's both of our faults. You can't just put that on you.
No, I do just fucking drop off the face of the earth when it comes to my social media presence. And it's just because I am dealing with my own bullshit all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. I think like every time I get into these moods, it's like I'm pulling myself out of social media, but never am I pulling myself out of my fucking real ass life. You know, it's like I'm still
out of my girlfriend. Ooh, yeah. Sorry.
No, it's like I'm still going to work. Like I'm not necessarily like laying in bed all day every day. Like I'm still going to work. I'm still interacting with people. I'm just not interacting with the internet side of my life.
Well, it's good because every time you drop off the face of the map, I'm convinced. I'm like, jbost, since he's not talking to me, is obviously just lying around moping like a bitch.
Yes, exactly. But when it's like there is a lot of, but it's a lot of like, I'm just gonna lay around all day watching old Godzilla movies. Like
I can't do that, man. I've been depressed, severely depressed, like a couple times, and done the whole laying around thing. Can't do it anymore. I mean, like, to be honest, when I was in that space, it was like I couldn't not do it. So I don't know. Maybe I'll end up back there one day. Who knows? But at the current point that I'm at, or I can't just do it out of like indolent reasons, you know? Like I can't just like be lazy anymore. Too much self-hate involved. Can't do it.
I know, and that's the problem, is that I get that so much. It's just like, you're fucking worthless. You could have been doing something this entire time, but instead you're just playing fucking Pokemon. You know, it's just dumb shit like that. Like it's like, what are you? Yeah. You know, it's just that existential dread that I get of like, you know, you have a finite amount of time. What's coming out next within the jbost spectrum is just the Satanic Bible audiobook that I've been working on for fucking months.
Ooh.
If not a year, I believe. I've been planning and working on this for a very long time. It was going to be a Halloween special, but then I was just like, I don't want to fucking, because I was so much of what I was doing was it's like I made Chernobyl, or I made Elm Street Enrico, and then I made Chernobyl, and I was like, I can't keep doing these things where it takes me 6 months to finish a video. I need to push myself to be able to do this in 2 months. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what the Betty and Barney Hill was. It was me testing another piece of it, So it's like, as much as I hate Betty and Barney Hill, it's a love-hate relationship, I guess.
I think there's need for that relationship with it. Like there's this quotation where it says, at the bottom of all, I think faith lies doubt, right? And I think just that paradoxical thing, you don't want to come off, especially somebody presenting the information, at least for us, you don't want to be such a staunch one-sided fuckface, or at least that's just not us. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like this is the best video, and you know, fuck everybody who doesn't think it is. You know?
Yeah, or just even being like that idiot, like we were talking about before, like those morons who it's like, I rewatched your Filthy Frank review because that was the first video I ever watched of yours, and that's how we got introduced.
The book, right? It started with the book.
Yep,
okay.
Way back when, because I was gonna do, for context for everybody, I was gonna do a video on the Filthy Frank book. I was like, oh, this is such a good idea. No one's gonna do it. I'm gonna get so many views. Look it up, because I got the book right away, but I just put off reading it for about a month, and I was like, oh yeah, this is still a great idea, even though I'm a month late. Let me check if anyone's done it. No one's probably done it. Boom, jbost, Yola Caboose, both had done it, and then I got in contact with both of them, I believe, and so that's how we met. But yeah, I was going back through it and to see if you still got comments on it, because I think that's your biggest video, right?
No, yeah, no, I think it will continue to be until I break the mold.
Die. Yes. But yeah, so you do still get comments on it. And one of the people was like, oh, I really like this video because, you know, I thought you were just going to be kind of lauding it the whole time, but you were actually, you know, fair. You were negative. Like you nitpicked and you presented both sides well. And it's, you know, you can get an audience off presenting one side, but your audience is going to be that one side. I would like an audience of critical thinkers, which, you know, it's a shame that this podcast only has severely autistic listeners. Trying to work out of it. Somehow I've pigeonholed myself into that community. Ouchie, you know? Guys, stop getting vaccinated, okay? But yeah. No, I would prefer to have an audience of critical thinkers. I don't know what the original point of that diatribe was, but that's where we ended up.
Why did you bring that up?
Well, I don't. I that's why I said I don't know why the original point of the diatribe was. It was something about. Oh yeah, the dude in the comments, because presenting both sides of an argument. It's just we were talking something about. Who cares?
Yeah.
Let's get back into what you were talking about with the Satanic Bible.
It's just an audiobook. I think it's like 3.5 hours long.
What is that? Like, what is it? Like, do you make your own Satanic Bible? Like,
no,
what the fuck does that mean?
I read the Satanic Bible, the Bible that is...
Who's that by?
Anton LaVey, the founder of the Satanic Church.
Okay, got it. I went and saw when I was in college.
Yes.
The head of, I think maybe this, is that the one where it's all the dudes who are like super into science and like morals and they just hate dogma?
That is what the satanic religion is for the most part.
Yeah, so I went to one of the, as I said, in college, I was just like, I didn't really have any friends because I was a bit of a recluse. So it was my own fault. So I was like, let me peruse these clubs, see which ones are interesting. So I went to one of it was this club called like the Skeptics Club or whatever. And I was like, I'm a bit of a skeptic. I don't like religion.
I'm a little cynical.
So there was this dude doing like, yeah, exactly. There was this dude doing a presentation. And I didn't really look into it. I was just like, oh, this is their next meeting. Dude doing a presentation. Sweet. Hit attending on Facebook because that's what you do, right? So I have this friend who was at college, or not super. We knew each other before. That's why. So we would, you know, be in contact. And she was the only other person from New York that I knew who was in Colorado as well. And she's like a staunch, devout Christian. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like really about it, all about the anti-abortion, going to church all the time. You know, church friends, like straight up down with God. Like really, really, right, really like hardcore.
OG homies.
So like to the point where she messaged me and she was like, oh my God, you're going to a Satanist meeting? I was like, wait, what? So I look into it. I was like, this guy, oh, he is. Oh, what is this? Satanist? That's weird. I didn't expect that. And then I look it up and I Google and I do a little bit of my thing. And I was like, wait, these guys don't worship Satan. They just believe in science. Yes. So I hit her back and I was like, you know, these dudes just believe in science, right? It doesn't really seem that harmful. She was like, it's a trick. It's a trick. They're evil. And I was like, oh, well, you know, I'm going to go see for myself. And then she was like, I'll pray for you. And I was like, I wanted to be like, save your fucking breath. Like, come on. Like, I wanted to just be like, but I was just like, okay, you know. It was, yeah. She's a cool chick. I don't want to talk about it. She's a real life person. Let's not do that.
Don't want to oust yourself or anything.
Exactly.
What I was going to mention was harboring, like, well, I guess there's two different points. So critical thinkers, having critical thinkers of an audience. That's what I'm trying to do with everything, is especially with these videos that I'm presenting. If there's any conspiracy or anything like that involved, I'm trying not to pigeon my whole. I'm trying to just give you a broad spectrum of everything that people are believing, whether it's true or not, allowing, just questioning it more than anything. I think that's kind of like one of the fundamentals of this. I call it Apartment 213 bullshit, but it's one of the fundamentals of like this new content is just being, not closing yourself so much that you don't believe what everybody says, but I can't word this right, but just keeping yourself open, but keeping yourself skeptical at the same time.
Yes.
Willing to listen, but not, willing to believe, I guess.
Yeah. And one thing that I like to do is rather than present an answer, like with this Epstein video, I'm not really presenting an answer, but I'm making a joke about the whole thing. This is going to go up before that, so I'm not going to give anything away. But basically what I'm doing is like I'm also showing a lot of resources. Like I'm using a lot of other little clips and audio bites and whatever. And one thing that I would really like is if people like saw that and then went deeper on their own. Like that'd be cool. Oh, yeah, 100%. Well, and it's like I had to make that line when it came to Aum Shinrikyo because there was so much knowledge that I had and I couldn't present every little fact because I'm not trying to be the definitive source. I'm trying to give you enough information that if it does pique your interest, you can find out more. But also at the same time, if you don't want more information, you got about as much as you need, Yeah. And trying to find that perfect mix. You're not, and I'm not, we're not out here being scholars trying to educate people on the subject. We're really trying to get a laugh.
Yes, infotainment is all that it is. Edutainment.
Yeah,
that's the niche of my content specifically.
Yeah, and maybe in me, I'm a little bit more of like putting the meming first, so it's like memecation or something. I don't know. Who knows? Meme. We'll figure out what's that word for when you put two words together? Who cares? There is a word for it somewhere out there.
No, yes, I know what you're talking about.
Well, we're talking about your project, so.
No, I know. Well, and it was some other like minute point, but it doesn't, in the grand scope of things, it doesn't actually matter. But what I'm researching next is the 27 Club.
Oh.
And I think specifically the one that I'm probably going to do first isn't even in the 27 Club, but I was looking into the death of Elliot Smith.
Who is that, the shooter guy?
No, that's Elliot Rogers.
Oh,
everybody that I mention it to, they're always like, isn't that the guy that isn't that the incel that shot up like a bunch of people? And I was like, no, he did a bunch of music for the Good Will Hunting movie, and he died by suicide by stabbing himself in the chest twice.
Ugh. Why would you do that?
I was just like, that doesn't sound like suicide. But I think, they left his death kind of unsolved for the most part, but nobody really got any slack for it. They just, they claimed it as suicide. So I listened to an autobiography because he's dead, but a biography about him. And then I'm listening to kind of a book about the 27 Club, because I think it'd be really interesting, like going forward, if I have like a series of 27 Club movies where I kind of cover some of the key individuals in that club. And then also on top of that, trying to fucking wiggle my music finger and try and do a cover of some sort of one of their songs and have that be the transitional music.
Kind of just you and your gruff voice doing the Womp remixes.
Yeah, something along those lines. Because there is like a mild interest of music within me. And it's not even like a mild music interest. I'm just interested in making as much shit as I possibly can.
Yeah, I think we're just creatives, and yeah, it's really about focusing the energy. Because like even yesterday, I was like, oh my god, like I just want to write a book. I would love to just drop YouTube and write a novel.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Just like, yeah, and it's just like I'm always doing shit like that. Like, but I just have to like be like, I have to spray myself with a water gun and be like Thomas or Mammoth. It's because I guess I call myself Thomas in real life. It's pretty embarrassing. I don't go by my alias.
Well, it's better, Tommy. It'd be interesting to see, like, I think about, like, just kind of, like, the development of the world. Like, there's so many things that I want, and I know there's going to be so many more things that I don't want that are going to happen, but, like, I just want to be able to, like, traverse the major United States, anywhere within the United States, within an hour. if I could hop on a fucking Beamer tube and just whoop, and then like suddenly I'm in New York.
Yeah, not gonna happen, Chief.
Like, I know, but that's the future that I want. Like, I just
yeah, the future that I want is one that involves me being happy, but we're not getting that.
But no, instead we're going to be like, I was like, man, one of these days, these soda companies are going to develop their 12-pack sodas to make a noise every time that you open it. So you just fucking crack it open and it's just like, oh, it's so fucking gay. Like, that's what we're going to get instead of a Beamer tube that takes me to New York City in an hour.
Yeah, what we're going to get is just a bunch of disease from all the crap we're being fed. And we're going to get stupider and stupider. Somebody the other day, this person I follow on Instagram, I posted a picture on my Instagram story of me drinking a Starbucks because I was at an airport and I couldn't brew my own coffee because I was at the airport.
All right, God forbid you get an Americana.
Yeah, and she hit me up, or he, I don't know really, but hit me in DM. We're like Instagram pals. Cool person. Anime Train Squad, shout out. It makes funny memes. And they were like, oh, dude, watch out, bro. Like, there's fluoride in the Starbucks. And I was like, all right, I got bigger things to bother about. Like, I don't care. Like, my IQ is not dropping, off the fluoride, bro. Like, we got bigger problems, okay? That's also a thing with the conspiracy theorists. Like, they'll take these, like, little, like, the 5G and, all this dumb shit. I'm like, bro, like, there's so much real shit that's really...
That's the problem with like conspiracy thinkers, is that it's like there's never like a mild conspiratist. It's always like they're either all in or they completely like laugh it off. Like, they're never like, I'm gonna tickle my fancy on, yeah, I believe the moon landing is fake, but aliens, fuck that. It's always like,
well, I feel like we both sort of proved ourselves as people who kind of take it in stride. I don't
know. I my favorite kind of conspiracy. Sorry to continue talking, even though you said to fucking stop.
No. As long as it's interesting. I feel like it was getting a little bit dry.
But my favorite conspiracy theories are the ones that are fucking mildly mundane that don't really change anything. Like, the moon landing wasn't fake, but the footage that they showed the American people is. You know?
That's the one that I've heard that makes the most sense. I mean, I really don't know. Those ones, again, space doesn't really interest me that much.
That's not space. That is 100% the government. NASA is ran by the government.
But it's just like it's like what I was talking about before with like these people thinking like the CIA is watching them. Like, they'll put tape over their computers and like they have no like your mom doesn't care about you, dog.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think the CIA does? You know what I mean? I feel like it's just a thing of, again, people wanting attention, like or people like to feel like the victims or like they're being attacked. It's like, it's funny. You look at every single side of politics, and somehow they've all sold their constituency on the fact that they're the victim, and yet they're opposing a side that also thinks they're the victim. So that's weird.
Everybody just wants to believe that they're so much more important than they actually are.
Yeah.
So, and it might not even be a matter of attention. They just want to believe that, their life isn't a meaningless, blip in a long history of meaningless blips.
Well, yeah. And I guess that's a fantastic way to end it, really, to just drive home the point. Like, guys, your life is a meaningless blip. Okay. It really is. Me and Jacob, this podcast is pointless. It's not going to change anything. The government's going to keep being fucked up.
You just wasted an hour of your life. How does that fucking feel?
Yeah, I don't even know about wasted. It just, it's not going to any greater purpose, no matter how you spend your time.
No matter what.
Okay, guys? So you might as well listen to this podcast on a consistent basis. It's on Apple Podcasts. It's on Stitcher. It might be on Google Play. I really don't know. I don't have it.
I tried looking it up because I was like, I need to be able to listen to his podcast without having to watch him on YouTube. And I tried looking him up on Google Play, and I was like, I can't find it here.
Stitcher.
And I couldn't find it on my pocket. I'm not going to download another app, dude. I'm not a fucking monster.
Do you have a droid?
Yes.
Faggot.
Whoa. There is that Apple pretentiousness.
Somebody DM'd me about dropping the faggot word. I'm not going to say who it is because I'm going to have him on the podcast eventually and maybe talk about it then. But shut up. I don't care. That's all I have to say about that.
I don't know. It's always so weird.
But yeah, what were you going to say?
I don't know what I was going to say. I was just trying to find an app to listen
People,
to. Yeah.
your life is pointless. Okay. Just stop. Just stop. And that doesn't mean it's not worth living. Okay. That's not what that means at all. It just means it's pointless. It's fine. Okay, whatever.
I try to have that optimistic existentialism. It's like, life doesn't matter, so there's no reason I shouldn't try to be a successful stand-up comedian. Like,
Exactly my point. My thing is like, I think life is a joke, so we might as well just have a laugh, bro. Like, like there's no point in being so stern and severe all the time. Or being such a depressing little bitch.
I know.
Like,
I know. I gotta stop.
Watch
being a
jbost's
bitch.
video. Which one's the one about the girlfriend and where you're like, stop being a bitch?
Is that I miss you? I miss you?
Yeah, that one. I was so happy when that stop being a bitch came on because I was like thinking that the whole time. I was like, jbost, nobody wants to watch you pout. And then you were like, stop being a bitch. And I was like, yes, you did it.
Well, that was the purpose of that.
Yeah, you were setting the stage. Well, fantastic. Everybody go watch that video. jbost, where can they find you?
At jbostTV, okay. In most places. I think that's my Twitter handle and that is my YouTube handle.
Okay.
My Instagram is jbostTVok.exe.
Gotcha.
My TikTok is also .exe.
And honestly, I think this is perfect timing because I literally just heard the people downstairs using their hammers on the apartment for some reason. I guess there's a black person there. Not funny. That's stupid.
Cut that shit out.
But yes. But yeah, so you can find me at Mammoth in Space on social media, and my YouTube channel is Planet Mammoth. Listen on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, whatever. That's about it. See ya.
Yikes.
Well, how about that podcast with jbost, everybody? Did you enjoy it? I sincerely hope you did. It's been a couple days. I'm working on this Epstein video right now. It's not gonna be out till like January because I don't know if we mentioned it, but I'm moving. Probably have mentioned it. So I'm just kind of dealing with all of those particulars at the moment. I'm going traveling again in a couple days to see family for Christmas. Hope you guys enjoy your holidays. If you don't celebrate any sort of mythological resurrection, I think that came later. No, that's like Easterish. I don't know what I don't know what the significance of Christmas is, except that a fat man breaks into your home and eats your food. But you know, he's eating all the gluten and dairy, so he's gonna die. You know, I plan to do a podcast about the keto, just like the healthcare, because I have a lot of I've had a lot of interaction with the healthcare industry, and they suck, and I hate them, and I use the ethereal they to describe a system, kind of like Kafka's castle, in a way. That's the way I sort of view these bureaucratic systems. But no, I really enjoyed this conversation with jbost. I think we have a very good chemistry, like my pal Edgar told me we did. And I think it came to life and showed itself, and I got to try out a few bits that bombed in stand-up but worked here, and we got to learn about what jbost has been up to, which was always nice. Always nice to know what your friends are doing, okay? You know, check in with your buddies, check in with your pals. Just yesterday, I was having this thought to myself. I was like, I had this friend from college who I gave some books to read because I do that to all my friends. I'm like, you gotta read this book, dude. It's sick. You love it, I swear. And you will if you read it. But most people just don't listen to me. For some reason, I'm not really a point of authority to anybody. So it'd been like a year and a half since I'd given my friend this book, which was Kafka on the Shore by Haruki Murakami, which is maybe my favorite Murakami novel. I have to reread it. I think it's it's the second one of his I've read, and I've read 11 at this point, or 12 maybe. So I have to give it a good old reread, which is why I was like, it's been a year and a half and this kid still hasn't fucking read the book. I'm gonna get it back. I need to steal this book. And if you guys can hear the church bells, don't worry, me and my suicide vest. All right, but no. So I told him to send the book back already, and then when I did that, he was like, "Oh no, I just actually opened the first page." I was like, "Fine, read it, idiot. Just get it back to me soon." And then it's been another couple months since then, and just yesterday I was like, "Dude, this fucking kid." I swear to God. Because the thing is, when people don't like cater to my whims of what I would like, how I would like them to be, I can be very flippant about just cutting people out of my life. I can just be like, you know what? This kid doesn't take me or my advice, or, it was just like, I don't know, man. If I'm not going to put in the effort to like try and give you friendly advice or, you know, things according to that nature, because it wasn't just the book, right? I'm not going to put in the effort to kind of do these things, to kind of go out of my way to think of you and how I could personally be of service to you as a friend, if you are not going to then take those things and act upon them. And that's the way that kind of the book, it's like a metaphor for that macro idea, right? So I spent yesterday kind of brooding about it, and I was like, this fucking kid, I'm going to just kill him, cut him out of my life. No, I didn't get that far, but it was like the seeds of that were starting to germinate. And then he texted me, and he was like, this might be a little crazy, but Kafka on the Shore might be my favorite book I've ever read. And I was like, yeah, fam, I agree. That's why I was very happy. I was very happy to the point where it was like, now you see what I was saying, bro? I'm not just some crazy guy. I'm also a genius. Okay? So a lot of people only see the one side of me. But I got the other side too, where it's like, yeah, this stuff that I say, it is crazy. It doesn't make a whole lot of logical sense all the time, but it's genius. It's genius. And you should listen to it at your own risk, of course. But I would, you know, if I were me, I still only listen to myself on, I'm still very careful about how often I listen to that side of myself, because I've learned that he's not to be always trusted. Sometimes you have to be a little bit pragmatic. So, yeah, that's where I'm at, I guess. I didn't expect this to kind of go in this direction. I kind of just wanted to give a quick little outro. But the thing is, I also like to kind of give these occasionally, just helps me give voice to my thoughts. One thing that podcasting shows you is how shit of an order you probably are. And that's one thing I've come to find. So I like to kind of have this sort of practice to be able to put my thoughts to a sort of cohesive narrative. Because, if I can't, then we have moments like we had in the podcast where jbost is like, why did you bring that up? Because now we're just at this crossroads. So I'm just trying to improve as an order. So, hey, if you came here just to listen to the guest or just to listen to me and the guest, you can always just shut the fucking, throw your phone against the wall as soon as you hear the outro. Okay. I'll always transition into the outro with a song. So whenever you hear that song, just unplug your headphones or go to a different podcast, perhaps. There's a billion different podcasts, so I'm sorry if you don't like this stuff, but I'm going to keep doing it, and you can't freaking stop me, so. Also, follow me on Twitter at Mammoth in Space, follow me on Instagram at Mammoth in Space, follow me on my walk home, and bludgeon me as I'm opening the door. Bye.